In 1913, the Federal Reserve System was created and thus allowed the U.S. to control and manage its economy. Then, during the Great Depression, during 1933, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt enacted the New Deal and tried to stimulate the economy. Since then, the American economy has been on the rise. However, in 2007, many Americans face the housing market crisis. At the same time, multinational corporations like Walmart have flourished and have been expanding. What is the impact of the creation of the Fed? How has the housing market crisis affected the economy? What is the government trying to do to fix the situation? How have multinational corporations been profitable in a recession like this? These questions and more will be answered with the help of economic analyst Richard T. Gill in this episode of Economics USA. I'm David Shoemaker. Walmart opens an average of one new store per day. Their gross profit for 2009 was over $400 billion. This may seem familiar to you. It's familiar, made in China. Well, we'll analyze how these methods of Walmart is such a great profit. Millions of customers a day, such as these, swarm into Walmart seeking the lowest prices of any of their competitors. Now we turn to senior analyst Dorfus Malamitis to see exactly how they get their prices so low and what impact this has on our ever-expanding global economy. So Dorfus, can you tell us a little bit about the strategies Walmart utilizes to get its products so cheap?
First of all, Walmart buys from Chinese manufacturers. In China, labor costs are much lower than the United States, which makes their exports much cheaper than U.S. goods.
Well, Dorfus, how does Walmart compete with other U.S. retailers that also import from China?
Well, for a number of reasons. One way is Walmart buys in the largest quantity from suppliers, in which then they could negotiate a lower price for goods than competitors.
Okay, so in essence, Walmart can basically tell the supplier what price they're going to sell it for.
Well, yeah, Walmart has such a powerful hold on suppliers that even if suppliers have to sell at a cheaper price, they would not turn down Walmart.
Okay, well, how does Walmart represent our ever-expanding global economy?
Well, the United States is moving jobs and manufacturing to foreign countries, and the United States is trading on international level at a larger scale than it has ever had.
Well, if we're moving all our jobs to foreign countries, isn't that not really fair to the American people? Because what about the jobs here in American soil?
This is a very controversial issue. On one side of the story, Americans feel cheated out of jobs that could be in the United States. On the other side, technological jobs are opening up because of the complexity of the international trade. More management needs to be here to control it.
Well, thank you, Mr. Malamitis, for your time and your insight in this pressing matter. To help further analyze the dynamic of this corporate giant, we turn to economic analyst Richard Gill.
This is a simple concept of supply and demand. The products in a multinational corporation like Walmart are in serious demand. From apple juice to Trojan condoms to Ziploc bags, Walmart carries just about everything an average American needs. Since the supply in countries outside of the U.S. is vastly higher due to lower production costs, the outsourcing Walmart does allows the cheap goods that we see today. In any case, Walmart's sheer size allows it to negotiate incredibly low prices consistently.
Due to the housing boom of the early 2000s, many prospective investors built housing tracts like this. However, after the housing market crisis, Many of these homes are left unsold or vacated by their previous owners. We asked specialist Tony Robinson to give us some insight. Welcome, Mr. Tony Robinson. So, can you explain to us how the U.S. got into its current housing crisis?
It was caused by many factors. First of all, you had banks who were giving out loans to people who couldn't pay them back. Also, the Fed had lowered their interest rate, which actually allowed the banks to make those loans to those people. Once the interest rate started to go back up again, the people couldn't pay back the banks for all the loans they'd taken out, and thus it all crumbled like a house of cards.
Wow. So how has our economy been affected by this crisis?
Well, the housing market fell, causing many foreclosures for those who had taken out those subprime loans in order to pay for their brand new house. Once they had gone under, many of the major banks had also gone under, and in order to save them, the government issued a bailout in 2008 to try to save them from completely collapsing.
So do you think these actions taken by our government are effective?
In fact, I do. It's simple Keynesian economics. They're using expansionary fiscal policy to try to save these corporations that could be going under. They're taking money that they have and using it to increase spending to increase GDP to try to save our country.
No. Yeah, well, thanks, Mr. Robinson. This has been a wonderful learning experience for the both of us. We turn to economic analyst Richard Gill.
Subprime loans are loans that are given out to people whose credit is not entirely verifiable. This is generally given to people who wish to purchase a new house. The housing market collapsed on itself due to an enormous amount of defaulted subprime loans. As you can see in this loanable funds market graph, the demand for loanable funds stays constant, but supply plummeted as banks were unable to produce the needed cash to pay off the debt. But as we've seen with countless other instances of overspeculation, the business cycle tends to even itself out.
What has our government done to get us out of this recession? To find out, we turn to Democratic Party leader Jeremy Stark. Welcome, Mr. Jeremy Stark.
Hi, how do you do?
Good. So, tell me about the recent stimulus bill, or the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009.
The stimulus was created in response to the deep recession that the American economy was facing. Congress passed a $787 billion bill that was meant to create jobs and promote investment and consumer spending during this recession.
Why did Congress choose to follow the method of government spending as opposed to monetary policy?
The Fed had already decreased its interest rates to zero. There was not much left to do. Congress decided that under the conditions, government spending was the best course of action to take.
Has this method ever been used before?
They based the stimulus after the Keynesian economic theory, where the government spends as much as needed to cover the output gap created by the drop in consumer spending during the recession.
What are some of the measures of this stimulus bill?
The bill includes federal tax cuts, expansion of unemployment benefits and other social welfare provisions, and domestic spending in education, healthcare, and infrastructure, including the energy sector.
Thanks, Mr. Stark. We'll see you next time.
A housing market where many Americans are being foreclosed day by day. A stimulus package sent to save countless industries from going under. At the same time, large corporations continue to grow in spite of all shortcomings of other aspects of our nation. How has the current recession affected government spending in the military branch? These are just some of the minute intricacies of complex global economies. These questions and many more will be answered on the next episode of Economics USA. I'm David Shoemaker, signing off.